Good evening, Brian Thomson. Welcome to Talk Badminton. How are you?
Hi, Martin. Hi. Nice to put a face to you, and I talk to you. Yeah.
You've seen my face probably too much. I've now started
Uh,
trying to avoid
yeah.
getting my face in the picture.
You're not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah.
Uh,
I've not watched all your videos yet, but I've watched a good three or four of them. Particularly the ones the guys that I knew, like Dougie and Colin Campbell and Kevin. People like that.
there's a few interesting ones. Willie Hislop, interestingly, is a surveyor. Willie
All right.
Hislop in
Right.
Glasgow's a surveyor for the
Uh-huh.
Heights Hall.
Uh-huh.
That's quite an
Uh-huh.
interesting one. And
Uh-huh.
he plays. I'm not really much experience of the West Badminton, but
Mm-hmm.
he plays through in the West. And Bob Euler as well is a coach through in the
Mm-hmm.
West.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you. So no, it's good. So
No, no, not come across them. I haven't played badminton for coming up for 20 years now. So I've lost contact with a lot of it. But over the past year, mainly because I finally got into social media, which I avoided like the plague before. So I've recontacted with quite a lot of people, and I've been thoroughly enjoying what you're doing. As I said,
great.
it's great. Lots of good memories, lots of
Oh,
bad memories as well.
so wow, isn't that
Yeah,
amazing? So where did you're Dalkeith, right?
Dalkeith, born and bred. Yep.
That's fab.
Yeah.
I've talked to somebody from Dalkeith that played in Dalkeith, Bonnyrig. I can't remember who it was.
Mm.
Dalkeith, who was I talking to? I can't remember. It'll come back to me.
Cunningham's. No?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember exactly. It'll come back to me. Sorry. So let's start with the questions.
Yep.
Your full name, please.
James Brian Thomson. You're going to ask about the James, aren't you?
Why did the James go?
Well, James was my father's name, but how do I put it? I think I was maybe a little bit of a difficult child, and I decided I didn't want the same name as my father, so I told my mother that I wanted to go by Brian.
Was it one of the? Did you have a wee moment?
Yeah. I think I was about 3-year-old. Spat the dummy.
Classic. Stars you mean to go on, I think.
Yeah.
And your age, please, Brian.
Well, what do you think?
I think you're probably very similar. Maybe I would say Colin Campbell-ish, 61.
Yeah. I'll take that as a compliment. I'm 64, 65 in 3 months.
Cool. So, did you play with Colin back in?
I played against him. Quite a lot. Yeah. Because I played for Lothian Badminton Club and Dalkeith, obviously, and Colin was Was it Western or?
Yes, that's right.
Western, yeah. So I played against him and Ian quite a bit.
Did you say Did you say you're in Lothian Badminton team?
Yes.
So what did that encompass? What was that? Because I don't think that exists anymore.
Oh, it doesn't. The club's gone. It was a club that played at Meadowbank on a Thursday night. A lot of good play. I mean, Christine.
Was that before Western?
No, same time. Right. At the same time, yeah. No, Western, Nomads, 13, 12, all these clubs. They all played. Lothian didn't play in the Churches or the Heather League. They were in the Lothian leagues. But good club. Very mixed standard. There was quite a few old members as well as people. I mean, Christine Heatley, or Black as she is, she was a member. Mike Reid. I'm trying to remember who all else. There was some good players, but there was also people who were into their 50s, 60s.
Yeah. So that was a club on a Thursday night.
Yep. At Meadowbank.
And at that time, was Western playing at Meadowbank as well? Do you remember?
Yes. Aye. They were a different night.
Yeah, I think they're Thursday now. I think they're playing a Thursday night now. And how many people would you back? So when are you talking here?
Well, I was there from the late mid to 70s right through till basically I stopped playing. I don't know when the club stopped, to be honest.
Wow.
I can actually show you a picture if you want.
Please, yeah. Go on. Is that wow?
I don't know if you can see it, but
that was a big club, right? Was that the whole club?
Dig the hairstyle.
There's a lot of mullets in that.
Yep.
My goodness.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. That was 1975.
And was that the whole club?
Well, all the ones that were there that particular night, yeah. I think they did.
Sorry, can you show me that picture again? Zoom out, would you, please?
Yeah.
Back out, back. Let's see the scale. That was, sorry, did you say that are the people that were there on that particular night?
Yes.
What? How many people is that? Can you count them for me?
Oh, God. 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 17, 20, 24, 28. Yeah. That's about 3 dozen.
Wow.
36. Yeah, but they had 4 courts.
Still. We've got 5 courts at... We've got 5 courts at Nomads at St George's School, and I think it would be lucky if you get 22. If you're lucky, 22.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? And sorry, okay, back to the questions. Your hometown, please, Brian.
Dalkeith.
Were you born in Dalkeith as well? Or?
Yep. I mean, I stay in Rosewell now, but I've been up in Rosewell for 26, 27 years. But Dalkeith originally.
It's a nice area, isn't it, Rosewell?
Yeah.
And did you have any brothers or sisters? My next question.
Nope. Only child.
Only child.
I think after the problems I had with me when I was demanding to be called Brian, they decided that was enough.
Look, you James, forget it, leave it. What age were you when you first played badminton? And why? Sorry, did 14. Your parents play badminton as well then?
No. They were both tennis players, as was I from quite a young age. Yeah.
And you're about 14 when you started badminton. That's relatively late, I suppose. Was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, in those days, it was. I mean, I only started playing because I had a massive crush on a girl at school who went to the school badminton club.
What was her name? Come on.
Heather Ewart. I've shut the bedroom door so my wife can't hear this.
She's not going to chance of watching Heather Ewart. I've actually written that down. I'm going to tag her.
There you go.
Oh, very good. And that's why you started playing. That's your move. Actually, what's one of my questions? My question is, what was your motivation to start badminton? I'm actually going to put Heather Ewart.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a sort of two-pronged thing. One was that, but the other one, and there's a common thread about being a difficult child coming through here. But I wasn't bad as a tennis player, and I actually made it through. They called it then the Scottish Sift, which was basically when they sifted out the players that they wanted to take further. So you went to Craig Lockhart, and there was a coach there called Klokinski, believe it or not. And if you got past him, then you could go on training courses at Largs. So I got accepted, and then decided that I didn't really want to go. I was quite shy. I thought of going away from home,
scary, right?
And there was nobody else that I knew from the area that was going to be going. And I thought no. And I was starting to get into badminton as well as I was heavy into golf. So I turned down the tennis.
Sorry, Brian, that place in Largs, is that the same place where they do residential badminton courses?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Inverclyde, is that called Inverclyde or something?
To be quite honest, Martin, I'm not absolutely sure, but yes, I think it is. I think it is all the same.
I had no idea. Sorry, so that's why. So when you left the tennis and thought, I'll go to badminton. Is that?
Yeah.
And there's a different season as well, I suppose. I guess it was over a winter.
Yes. Yeah.
You like a racket sport, so you're thinking, what can I do inside, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. I mean, I still played tennis inside as well because they had the inside courts at Craig Lockhart. But that was not easy. The ball came through very quickly.
Was that?
Oh yeah. It wasn't like the carpets you get nowadays. It was a shiny floor and the ball just skid. It was like playing on ice. It was just. But it was a game.
Do you still play tennis?
No. The golf completely and utterly took over. Yeah.
And you're obviously mad keen on golf. Tennis is good for you. I've just got into tennis. I love it. I really like it, I have to say.
I actually went back to the tennis again in my late 20s, early 30s. Because my father died young. He died on his 60th birthday from heart condition. But my mother kept playing tennis right into her late 50s, maybe even into 60. And so I joined the private club in Dalkeith, and which they didn't like because I hadn't played for 10 years. And took it up, picked it up very quickly again, and actually won their championship, which they weren't pleased about. But I played with my mother in the mixed event, and it's a great memory that I've got. You know, it was the one and only time I played in a competition with her.
With her.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
And you did well, did you say?
Yeah, well, I won the gent singles and doubles, I think, but we didn't win the mix, but we got through a few rounds. You know.
Do you know Bill Fleming?
No,
Yeah, he's
no.
a mad tennis player. Yeah, mad
Uh,
tennis player. But tennis, badminton, and golf, you'd like him. He plays
yep,
at
yep,
he plays at
yep.
Monkton Hall, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's just joined Winterfield as well for his
All right,
links golf.
right.
He actually lives on the border of on Monkton on the estate. I
Uh,
think there's houses
yeah,
around it. He lives around there.
yeah, yeah.
So
He
so
won't be
then
getting a game there at the moment.
no, I don't think so. No,
No,
no, I
no.
think he's yeah, it's pretty bad. Obviously, especially today.
Yeah.
The name of your first club then was Lothian.
Oh no, 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 no. That was much later on.
Later,
I see. I started at the school club, and then realised that I was enjoying it. And because I'd played tennis by that time for probably 5 or 6 years, I picked it up quite quickly. You know, I had an eye for the shuttle.
hand-eye coordination.
And in those days, the technique was completely different to nowadays, and so a tennis technique got me a bit of the way, you know. But I then went along to a club at St Nicholas Church in Dalkeith, which was quite an experience because they were very staid and in their ways. And as an example, the first time I did a flick service, I got these looks, and afterwards I said, "You shouldn't really be doing that, you know." And I said, "What's wrong? I just did a flick serve." Well, we don't do that sort of thing, you know. And the roof was so low that the rule was if the shuttle hit the roof on your side of the net, it was a fault. But if it hit the roof on the other side of the net, it was a lek. So a set could take 3 hours.
Where is St Nicholas Church? Where's that? St Nicholas Church, did you say?
Yep. Right down the bottom of Dalkeith High Street on the left-hand side, opposite the County Hotel.
Yes, I know exactly where it is. Exactly opposite the county. Yeah.
Yep.
Was there?
Yep.
So that was you played at school.
Yep.
And then you were what 14, 15, something
Yep.
like 14. Yep. And then from school, where did you start playing in a club?
Well, I say that was a St Nicholas club, and then
when I still about 15 then, the kind of thing. Or?
Probably a wee bit older. Than that. I mean, I think it was mainly the school badminton until I was up to about 16. By that time, I was a reasonable player. I won the Midlothian schools under 16 singles, and that's when I said, "Oh, I better start trying to think about getting into some senior clubs." You know? Yeah. So I went there, and then Dalkeith had a club at Woodburn Community Centre. So run by a guy, Kenny House. So I went along there, and that really brought me on because that was the start of the Dalkeith Badminton Club, which expanded quite a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the questions. Do you remember how much it cost when you went? Your first
club? Not got a clue.
No idea. Do you remember what shuttles you used?
I think it was RSL. It certainly was at Lothian. Dalkeith, it was whatever we could afford at the time. But we tried to stick to feathers if we could.
That's good. Do you remember your first coaching, Brian?
Yeah, well, I say I did quite well in the Midlothian schools. You know, Midlothian schools wasn't Edinburgh schools, obviously, so the standard wasn't the same standard as the guys Dougie was coaching. Yes. But so I won that, which must have got me a wee bit of attention. So I got invited along to the Lothians junior squad, which wasn't Lothian Badminton Club, it was the Lothians. Yeah. And that was Andy Hamilton and a lovely guy, Sandy McRae. I think Andy, but if you can make that out, that's Andy.
Have you got a scanner? Could you scan that in, or could you put it on the post?
Yeah, I can scan it in and send it through to you.
Yeah, just we'll drop it on the. If
Yep.
you look, if
Yep.
you drop it on the Facebook, that'll be really good. We can get a look
Yep.
at that,
Okay.
and maybe we can see people. That'd be
Yep.
great.
Yep. Actually, it's already on the one that John Williamson
Oh
does, and
yes,
Kevin.
yes.
I posted
Is it?
that a few months back.
I'll tag it then. That's good.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Sandy McLean. So he taught. Where did you get that coaching? Did you say in Dalkeith?
That was Meadowbank. It was
was it?
Sandy McCrae. It wasn't
Andy and
McLean. It was Sandy
Sandy.
McCrae. Yep. And Andy Hamilton. That was Meadowbank on a Sunday afternoon.
And you see the thing with Dougie Walker and stuff.
Mhm.
He was obviously coaching around that time. How did you
Yep.
end up there? Do you think what happened? Why
I
didn't
don't.
you?
I don't know.
Nobody
I think
recognised him even.
I think he was more Edinburgh schools,
Right.
whereas this was more, a sort of wider catchment, if you like.
So, like, when you
I,
say
I,
Lothians, would that cover
yeah.
would it cover like Trinent and Musselburgh and that kind of thing and Haddington? And would it be East
And,
Lothian and
and,
Midlothian?
and there was Edinburgh players as well.
Was it?
I think though the sort of standard of player was the player that was below,
Yes.
obviously international standard.
Yes.
But I mean, there was players like I've seen her name crop up a few times. Katrina Halliday, she was there. Susie Wilson, her sister Gillian Wilson. I mean, there was. Yeah. I think Kenny Middlemas was there for a wee while.
Was it? Yeah, good.
Well, when he got to that age.
Do you remember your first ever tournament?
Well, it was the Midlothian schools.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cool, isn't it? Do you miss it? Do you miss it, Brian? Do you miss badminton?
Oh, yeah. I do. It's. I mean, it was a huge part of my life. I mean, I actually ended up running Dalkeith Badminton Club when I was 18 because Kenny and his wife moved away and nobody wanted to take it on, so I took it over and I ran it for 20 odd years. Not just myself. I mean, there was other people obviously helped.
But you're
So,
you're the stay. You every week you'd go. Most times you would be there. You're
yeah,
the guy for
yeah,
that. That's good.
yeah.
It's a real
Like,
selflessness, and all the time, whether you could play or not, if you're injured, whatever, you'd still go and
yeah,
open it up and
yeah,
so provide the courts and
uh,
shuttles and set up the nets, all
yeah,
that stuff. There's so
yeah,
much goes
yeah,
in.
yeah.
I run
I
a club
was.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot
I
to
mean,
it.
one of the problems was finding places to play. Because we played at Woodburn Community Centre, which was the day after the dancing club who put down the fence chalk. So you were, I said, try to play on ice. But we outgrew it because we had too many members. So we played for a while at Dalkeith High School. In the dining hall and the main hall. So we had two courts. Then we were at New Battle High School for a good few years, which was great because we could get the swimming pool afterwards.
Wow.
Midlothian Sports Club, which was licensed, that was brilliant.
A wee pint after. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's it. And we ended up at Mayfield Leisure Centre, where Mike Loudon was the manager.
It's I just think it's Midlothian and East Lothian have got a real problem with the moment with Edinburgh Leisure and with the councils about the charging for clubs. They've got a real problem with that just now. They're charging per player per hour for clubs.
Oh dear.
So if you've got 4 people, it's £5 an hour. It's 10 quid for the court for 2 hours for you by yourself plus shuttles. So I've got a friend there, and it's £15 a night. £15 a night. And and because of the pain, because I couldn't get because I thought, do you know what? If there's 12 of them and I go and that makes it 13. What difference does it make? Somebody will set off, and the guy said, no. He says it costs so much money for people to play now. They want to be playing, right? You can't have 13 people. You can't have 7. It has to be. It's terrible. Terrible situation. And that's the whole of the council done that. So, what was your favourite event, Brian? Were you a singles player?
I really enjoyed singles because I was fairly fit, but there wasn't a great deal of opportunity because I say I wasn't good enough to play in like Scottish Nationals or even East of Scotland or that. But obviously the local tournaments, like the Edinburgh Evening, you got to play the singles there. The Inter Club, play that. And I played as much singles as I could on club nights, if there was enough space. But probably most successful for me was gents doubles.
And did you have a best partner?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that year, I say, when I won the Midlothian School singles, there was nobody else at Dalkeith High that was good enough to play in the tournament. So I had to play doubles at under 18 with a guy, Alan McBride. And Alan and I, so the first time I played doubles with Alan, I was 16 years old, or just coming up for 16. And I played with him right through till he moved to Cooper, probably 20 years later.
Wow.
And we played all the the evening, the Heathers, the Churches tournaments, all of these.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
you keep in touch with them?
Yeah, yeah. Well, funnily enough, I'd lost a bit of touch, but that picture that I showed you, another friend of mine, unfortunately, his father passed away, and he found that picture because he's in it as well, in the attic. So I scanned it in and I emailed it up to Alan in Cooper, and that got us chatting. And it came out that I said, "What are you doing now?" He says, "Oh, I play quite a bit of golf," and he hadn't been a golfer before he left.
Wow.
So I said, "Oh, all right." I said, "Where do you play?" He went, "Ladybank and St Andrews." So I was in contact with him a lot.
A lot. You'll be all over that. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Okay, that's really good. So there's your partner, Alan
Yep,
McBride, is it? Yeah.
yep, yep.
Who was your main competition growing up? Was there anybody you and Alan were very close to when you competed in competitions? Do you remember?
Well, I say we played against the Campbells a lot, and people like, I don't know, Mike Ramage. I'll give him a mention because I think he's in this group as well. Leon Douglas was the bane of my life. Because we played against, he played with a big guy, Kennedy and Woody, and we played them quite a bit. But what I found was when I did play singles, like I think there was a singles event in the Churches as well, but
So
definitely in the
is that
evening.
what Mike Ramage was? Sorry, Brian. Was that Mike Ramage? Was he a singles player? Was he?
No,
Oh,
Mike
it was
was
doubles.
doubles.
Ah, it was
Mike was
doubles. Right.
doubles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I don't know what it was, but I always seem to come out in the singles draw. Maybe not the first round, but after a couple of rounds, playing against Leon, and there was another guy, Jack Calder, who was, they were in the same mold. They were both small, ran like hell, and just kept running like hell. And I found with them, I could be like 10-2 up in the first set because I was a stronger hitter. I was 6'1" and I could hit a decent smash, and then I would run out of steam. And Leon would walk all. I think what I've seen is that Leon's doing quite well still on senior stuff. I think he plays
What was that name?
Europeans.
Sorry, Leon.
Leon Douglas.
Okay.
He's also in that picture. He was Lothian.
So was he club? These people are mostly in the club, were they? In the Lothian club, were they?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Leon was certainly. I think Kennedy and Woody was Western, I think, but they seem to play the tournaments together. And there was that Ali Robertson and
Ali Robertson. I know Ali well.
yeah,
He's a golfer.
yeah,
He's a mad golfer.
yeah. He's at Dunbar, I think.
Yeah, I think he does something about motorbike parts. I'm sure.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay, good. Let's move on to the. I guess these questions aren't really relevant. What clubs do you play now? And is there a club? If you did play, okay, you don't play.
Yep.
Where's the nearest club for you? Do you know?
I think there's still a club going at Dander Hall.
There is.
Just
Yes.
just outside Edinburgh. I think there's one there. But actually, one of the videos that you did, we've got a holiday lodge, as I said, at Lillier's Edge, and my ears pricked when you said that there was a club at St Boswell's.
There is.
'Cause that's 2 miles from the lodge.
Do you go down there regular? Do you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're there a lot. We've been there a lot during the pandemic.
You should 1,000,000% do that. Go down to St Boswell's and open.
Yep.
You've got really welcoming lot. And
Yeah.
if you probably don't feel like it, but they do really good fun handicap tournament on the Sunday. I don't know if you saw that. If you watch the videos of Stuart Bell and Harry Turnbull, both of them mentioned they have a tournament once a month, which is a handicap tournament. Everybody just goes in it, all sorts of standards really, and you get your individual handicap, and so you can be off minus whatever, and then somebody else is on plus, and add it together, and it's just a bit of fun. And you win a box of Cadbury's chocolates, so that's all good. So what's the current? Have you got a racket? Oh, I forgot to
I
ask you.
do, yeah. Believe it or not.
Sorry, I forgot to ask you what your first ever racket was.
Oh well, at the school, I think it was your Carlton 4.3 or something.
Your particular racket. Do you remember what your very first racket was?
Yeah. Because of the tennis background, I insisted that I got a Dunlop Max Ply Fork, which was a wooden-headed racket. That was my very first one, but I quickly realised that was out of date, so moved on. I think Carlton 3.7X, the one with the squished shaft.
That's the one. That's what I had. Do you know what? I wonder. Oh, you wonder if having a wooden head of a racket as a tennis player probably makes it easier. Probably the lighter it is, the harder it is. Probably right.
Yeah.
If you've come from tennis to badminton, a wooden head probably feels quite good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the problems with being tennis player first that I found was I had a bit of a reputation because I quite frequently was left with just the handle in my hand and the rest towards my opponent. I broke lots of rackets like that. You know, I don't know what it was in my technique that caused it, but God, the number of times I did it.
Yeah. Very strong, obviously very strong. Do you have do you own a racket now?
Yeah. I actually went into the attic just when this was coming up. Yeah, and there you go.
Let's see what is it. Let's see it.
Carb 10.
It looks like a boron. Was it Yonex? Is it? What is that?
Actually, it's a Yonex Carbonex 10, which must be 30 years old. I actually I managed to talk my way in. Sorry?
It looks all right. It looks like a boron. Do you remember Carlton did a boron classic? That was looks like that.
Yeah. I tell you, I was quite surprised. No. It's still quite strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. I would get it restrung, and that'll feel like. See, if you get it restrung, you'll feel like you want to play once it's restrung.
Yeah.
Also, it'll probably be. Is it gut string in it or what?
It's gut string. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I actually talked myself into sponsorship at one point.
Did you?
I put my tongue in my cheek. You know, Vicourt, Derek Talbot. They were new on the market, and I wrote this letter saying, I won the Midlothian schools, and I play at Lothian. I'm in the Lothian's junior squad. Blah 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 blah. Any chance of getting some rackets from you? And thought no more about it. And then about 6 weeks later, this package arrives at the front door with 6 rackets from Vicourt. And a lovely letter from Derek Talbot saying, hope you enjoy them. There you go. Never got any more. But
6 rackets. That's in today's money. That's quite a lot of money. That's probably about 600 quid's worth, right? That's a lot of rackets.
I just couldn't believe it.
Sell them on eBay.
No, I broke them all.
Classic. Do you remember what tension you used to play with? Did you choose back in the day? I don't even know if you did choose back in the day. You just said, "Can I get a restring?" You wouldn't think I won at £27 or whatever, would you?
Yeah. No, there was a guy
quite tight. Would you say? Could you do it quite tight for me, kind of?
Yeah. There was a guy in Sheens Road up near the old Edinburgh Sick Kids Hospital. He used to do them, and then latterly Davy Cunningham. Not there's young David and old David. David that does the lining and the coaching. Old David started to do restrings, so he would do them for me.
You find there's quite a lot of the same people that do tennis rackets, don't you? Tennis rackets, badminton rackets, people do both.
Yeah.
It's amazing you can spend. I've actually got a friend, Andrew Ironside, we plug for Andrew. He does stringing in Glasgow, and he invested about 2 years in about a £3,500 machine, which holds the tension, and it's incredible technology. And what they do nowadays, where you have tension vertical and tension horizontal, different tensions, vertical and horizontal. It's interesting. Yeah. A lot of people play with that.
How much is a restring now?
About. I think it's around £15 to £20 probably.
Not too bad.
It depends if you got your own string. It's about 10, I think, something like that.
I always tell us. In fact, I put this on the badminton memories post as well. That I remember a crowd of us. We had a minibus and went through to the Kelvin Hall to watch. I think it was a Europe versus Asia match, and it was Fen Pree playing against Rudy Hartono, and Hartono was getting beat, and you could see him raising his game, and he went for this smash, and he hit it so hard that everybody looked to the other side of the court, but the shuttle wasn't there. And we looked back, and the shuttle was lying on the floor on his side of the net, and the middle of his racket was just demolished. He must have broken about 4 or 5 strings all at once with this one.
I'll never forget
Incredible.
seeing somebody playing a smash and they're smashing it, and the shuttle getting stuck in the strings of the racket. You couldn't find it, just fall out of it. Very good. So, did you manage? Have you got kids, Brian?
No. I mean, I'm twice married, and my first wife was 12 years younger than me. She was a very good badminton player as well.
Is that how you met her?
Yeah, she was my mixed doubles partner eventually at Dalkeith, and we won the Heather, something in the Heather tournament. I think it was the handicap in the Heather, and we went out to celebrate, and that was the start of it.
Love that.
Yeah, it was good for me because I say she was 12 years younger than me, and she wanted to play.
You don't need to say anything else.
No, I won't go down that road.
You can stop right there. It was good for you. She was 12 years younger. Good.
Yeah. I was mid-30s, and we started going out running, and we would play singles 2 or 3 times a week at Mayfield. And I don't know if you've come across the name Ogilvie Gray. He ran 13 club, and we played against him quite a bit. And he approached various other clubs because they had a contact in the Borders, and the Borders Open was struggling for entries. So he asked if any of us would go down, and I think about half a dozen of us went. And I was 34, and I managed to win the singles, beating David Cunningham's brother, Mark Cunningham. I beat him in the semis, and Mark was about 19, and a guy, Campbell Patterson, who was the same age in the final. So I walked about with my chest stuck out for a few days after that one.
Fantastic. And then you got the girl. Boom.
Yep.
What was your favourite event? What is your favourite event? Yeah, I suppose it's the same question, isn't it? Your favourite event now. So when was the last time you played, Brian?
Well, I'd say it must be 20 years ago. I know what it was. I mean, it was the last time I played seriously, it was a gents doubles match against 12th Club at Meadowbank, and I hadn't had an injury in my whole career. I was lucky that way, but I was getting on a wee bit by then. I was probably into my early 40s, and playing gents doubles. And they say that when a muscle goes, you can hear it, and I always thought that's nonsense. And my calf on my left leg went, and luckily one of the 12th guys was a doctor, and he came on and he said, sit down, and I went, what am I going to sit down for? I need to get off the court. And he went, no, sit down. And I started to go dizzy, and they got the Meadowbank first aider, and I'll always remember it. She says, oh, it sounds to me like it's either your Achilles or your calf. We'll know if it's your Achilles, because when we take your shoe off, if your heel drops, it's your Achilles. And I'm thinking, what? I was waiting for my heel to land on the floor. Luckily it wasn't, but I was never the same afterwards.
Did you try going back?
Yeah, I did, but by that time, David Cunningham, John O'McMillan, I think David Brodie was at Dalkeith, and so I was playing second team stuff in the Heather League. So I was back to playing in church halls at Juniper Green, and I was too competitive. I wasn't enjoying it.
Do you think you go back now and you'd enjoy it more?
Possibly, yes. Fun enough. Sorry, I've got all these stories which people maybe
going through your head. Yeah. We'll run out of time in a bit, but carry on.
Right. Okay. I say this lodge that we've got roughly a year and a half ago, my wife and I went to a bric-a-brac store in Selkirk, and I came across this folder for the 1986 Commonwealth Games. It was a competitors folder, Now, I volunteered in the badminton at those games. So I didn't open it, but I thought, I'm having that, £4. Took it back, opened it up. First thing I found was a book of photographs of badminton players, all signed with nice wee messages for her birthday to Christine Heatley, as is now Christine Black. And then I found the invitation to lunch with the Queen at Holyrood. And I thought, why would she not want this? So I say I got in. I found out her email address, got in touch with her. She was doing a training session at Meadow Mill with David Cunningham Senior. Went down and stood for a wee while watching her hitting the shuttle, and and I felt, I wish I could be the other side of the net. So it sowed a wee seed. And then getting the racket out the attic, and you talking about St. Boswell's.
So did you give it to her? What happened?
Yes, aye. Oh, she was. What had happened was that her mother had passed away the previous October, and her sister had organised the house clearance, and then she reckons this must have been in the bottom of a wardrobe somewhere, because her mother kept everything that she'd got.
Why would it be in Selkirk?
I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. But it shows you what a small world it can be. She was absolutely delighted to get it back.
What's the chances? That's absolutely incredible.
Even the book with all the messages, and it was Pam Hamilton had given it to her for her birthday. She'd obviously collected them all over the place.
Absolutely incredible. And the final question, and we're just about time, 36 minutes in. What is it about? So when you play tennis and you play a lot of golf, and what do you think it was about badminton? Did you like badminton more than tennis? And what is it you like? The question really is, what is it that you love about badminton?
Yeah. I liked badminton. One, I think it was more dynamic, and you could, I really enjoyed the singles and the speed of the game, and I also really liked the social side. The social, once you've played your match at Meadowbank and you're running across the road to the Golden Gates for a pint before you drive home, the good old days. I mean, when we were at Dalkeith High School for Dalkeith Club, there was a pub right next door, the Unicorn. It's demolished now, but we used to play until about 9:30, and then dive into the pub, because my father was the handyman at the school, so I knew the janitor very well. So we would go down to the pub for 2 or 3, and then back up to the school back at 10 and play till midnight. Because he would let us lock up.
You've certainly, when you look at it, you've met a lot of people, right? Over the years, you've met a lot of people. You've played with a lot of people, and everybody comes on and says the same. I'm not very good with names, but isn't it amazing when you go back in time? I think it all comes back when you put it in an order. When you ask somebody a name, everybody says, "Oh, I can't think." But when you actually when you actually put things into sequence, it suddenly comes back, and amazing the names that you'll watch this back and remember things without question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time we went abroad on holiday, I would meet somebody that I knew through golf or badminton. And my wife would always say, "It's incredible. Every time we go away, you know somebody." And I said, "Well, it's just the sort of sports that I played."
I think it's sociable people as well, for sure.
Absolutely.
Brian Thomson, James Brian Thomson. Congratulations! Thank you for joining.
Is that? Have we got time for one more thing?
One more question. Yep.
It's the controversial part of it, because I'm interested to hear what other people have got to say about it. If people post, I was interested when there was talk about there's no longer the Borders League. The Heather League used to be 12 divisions. I think it's just 1 division now. I don't even know if the Churches League is still there.
Yeah, it's just very recently didn't have a year this year or last, I think.
Yeah. Well, we Midlothian used to have a match just after New Year every year with Belfast Churches in the early 80s. I think they played Edinburgh teams as well. And I always remember sitting in a cafe after I'd played with one of their organisers. And he said, "What's the badminton like here?" And I said, "Oh, it's pretty strong, but I've got concerns about where it's going." And he said, "How do you mean?" I said, "Well, when I first started playing, the first age group was under 16. Now they've got age groups at under 10, under 12, under whatever. And if you're any good, then you get taken away to coaching groups and whatever else. And it's like anything at that age. If your pal gets taken and you don't, then you go, I don't like that anymore. I'm not going to play it. And I said, I just don't know what's going to happen with club badminton. And here we are, whatever it is, 30 years later, and club badminton's nowhere near what it used to. I know now you're up against, the computer games, and there's concerns. Parents don't like their kids going out and on their own. I mean, I used to go to all these training things just by myself on the bus, and I never got run about with my parents anyway.
Did you ever think about coaching yourself, or did you ever coach?
I went through the initial stage, whatever it was called then, but to be honest, I didn't have the patience. Yeah. I really admire Dougie. I don't know how he's done it.
I agree. So many coaches have bring on beginners and all that. I'm just curious about that. Obviously, I think it starts with enthusiasm, starts with somebody with passion. And, Dougie's obviously great for that. And Bob Wheeler as well. Yeah. Bob Wheeler.
I don't know if has the name Robbie Robertson ever come up? Tiny. He was called Tiny because he was about 6'8" and 20 stone. He was the one that brought on Arnott Hutchison. He was up in Pennycook, and Robbie was probably on a par with Dougie about how many players he brought through. Totally rubbish player himself, but great at coaching the kids.
And making them love it and the beginner. But I don't know if you watch Bob Wheeler's video. He's
not yet. No.
You should watch him. He's a coach, and he knows. He's in Glasgow, and he's in an area of Govan, I think, and he gets young kids in, and he literally focuses on beginners, brings them in, brings them through, and then when they're good, he knows, no, I'm finished now, and he'll pass them on to recommend them to other people. But he's an absolute coach for juniors, bringing on new people that have never played, get them to love it, and then they want to get better, and that's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah. All credit to him.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Brian. James,
okay, Martin.
James, thank you, James. See you later.
I've never liked you know that.
Take care. Thanks for joining me, all right?
Cheers, Martin. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.